This is Orlando Wilson, and what I want to talk about in this video in general is behavior, personal behavior. And why, if you ever think you're that important, you can't be replaced, you should think again. In this business, especially in the security business, there's a lot of people that think they're experts, etc., that you're a rock star, whatever. None of us are. We're all replaceable. There are no experts in the close protection business because you're constantly learning. You're constantly a student. There's that much you can learn on a daily basis. It's unreal if you're professional. Now, let me give you an example of, this is more of a corporate security problem, corporate security issue we helped solve a number of years ago now. But this also brings in multiple aspects, not just from the investigation perspective, from our perspective, but also how you should behave if you're in a position of responsibility, if you get to the position where you're actually a decision maker, and the decisions you make can make a lot of money or lose a lot of money. And how you behave can make a lot of money or lose a lot of money. Many years ago, I was approached by an associate of mine that said that was involved in let's say the logistics and communications world. And one of the companies he was consulting for had an issue because one of the people that used to work for them disappeared. They fired him and he went to work for another one of their competitors, even though he had signed an agreement. I forget what they call it, golden handshake or something. He was being paid a lot of money, $600,000 a year, just to stay out of the area they were working in before. He was working in before. The gentleman in question was an ex-military person, senior NCO from a NATO force. And when he left the military, he was a senior NCO. Once he left the military, went into the private sector, communications-wise, and he made a lot of money for a company. He made big money. We're talking multi-millions of dollars for a specific company, getting them communications contracts within Iraq and Afghanistan. When people weren't worried about how much money they were spending. So the company he was working for at the time, he made them a lot of money. The trouble is with this gentleman, he went from being senior NCO in a NATO force that doesn't earn that much money to all of a sudden being a rock star. Living in Dubai with too much money. And what this gentleman done was go out and find a girlfriend, different ethnicity, but also about half his age. And such is life. If people want to do that, if gentlemen want to do that, if men want to do that, if women want to do that, find a lover half their age, okay, it's up to them. But when you're dealing in the corporate world, you don't want to be taking your partner, and it was clear they weren't partners, and clear they were involved in a sexual relationship, personal relationship, especially in a country such as Dubai, which going back a number of years was a lot more conservative than it is today. You don't want to be taking your girlfriend, boyfriend who's over half your age to business meetings, conferences, and showing them around town. Especially when everybody else knows that you're married, you have a wife and kids back in your home country. So this gentleman was causing a lot of embarrassment. The money went to his head, his position went to his head, and he was living the rock star lifestyle, which was no good for the company he was working for, because if nothing else, because of their clearances, because of the sensitivity of the work they were in, they needed everything to be 100% tight. They couldn't have one of their lead people out partying with some lady of a different ethnicity from a different country that nobody knew who she was and had access to all of his materials, money, etc., phones, computers, was living with the guy, especially in a country at the time, such as UAE, where unmarried couples couldn't share the same hotel room. So this gentleman was given a golden handshake saying, thank you very much, goodbye, your behavior's no good for us, go away. He was being paid $600,000 a year to stay out of his line of work in Iraq and Afghanistan. He could work anywhere else in the world, do whatever else he wanted, but stay out of those two countries and defense contracts in those countries. But because he was a rock star, because he was used to that lifestyle, because he was used to the way he was living, even though he was taking $600,000 a year for doing nothing, the company suspected he was back working in Afghan. Anyway, it took us a number of months by, how can we put it, pretexting. We set up an opt for another company that was looking for communications equipment in that part of the world. We were running logistics for forward operational bases. We needed this question, that question. And in the end, with the technical questions, and after about 3 or 4 months, this gentleman come to the surface, and we was talking to him openly via email, via messaging apps, and it was clear that he was working again in Afghanistan. That voided his contract for the $600,000 a year for nothing, and we'd done that just before he's going to be getting another $150,000 payment. So not only did that gentleman's behavior and arrogance cost him a lot of money, it also potentially cost his previous company multi-million-dollar contracts due to, one, his behavior, and even down to if people really got the antsy about what he was doing, even his clearances could have been gone. So this is where your behavior, even though you think nobody's looking, people are always looking at how you behave. So if you're in, how can I put it, especially in the corporate world, corporate security world, you always have to be 100% aware of how you're behaving and the image you're putting across, not only personally but also social media wise, etc., etc. This is where a lot of people in the corporate world I know don't had enough of the corporate world because they can't say and do what they think. They can't live the lifestyle that they want to live. I don't judge people. You can do whatever you want in private, but if you have anything to lose, if you have money to lose, a job to lose, a family to lose, you have to be extremely careful with your behavior. In the close protection world, your reputation is everything. So you need to ensure that your reputation is sparkling. I won't say sparkling. As they said, a knight in shining armor, the armor's never been tested. So it's okay to have a few dents, it's okay to have some rust, but it needs to be solid. Your reputation needs to be solid. So I hope this little story makes sense. So I have a selection of books online to do with various aspects of the security business, close protection, kidnap and ransom, travel security, home security, etc., etc. And we're throwing up a lot more of these videos on our social media platforms that cover various aspects of the security business. In the near future, we'll be putting out some interviews with people, interesting people, to talk about more aspects of the security business. So follow us on social media, follow me, follow Artful Gypsy, follow Risk Incorporated, and we're going to be putting out a lot more content in the near future. So thanks for watching. Be good boys and girls. Remember, always think about your behavior and try to stay out of trouble.